my guest is smart. But as we walked together in a food and beverage expo, I witnessed the respect and admiration she got from almost all the exhibitors. And you know what is her specialty? Food safety. Yes, besides teaching and giving workshops, she is a food safety auditor. People usually fear them, but not my guest. She is so professional, so knowledgeable, and such a fair and good person, food and beverage producers seek her presence and her guidance. Today, we seek her expertise and enlightenment on this very important topic of food safety. So let's ask 10 questions to my extraordinary guest, Zeina Nakat. Hi, Zeina.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm so happy to have you here.
Me too. Thank you for having me, Patty.
Thank you for coming. So, tell us a little bit about your journey, because it's not like when you grow up you say, oh, I want to become a food safety inspector or auditor, sorry. So how did you become a food safety auditor?
Well, I started my journey at AUB as a nutritionist, and then I liked the food aspect of the major, and I wanted to know more about the science of the food and how it's produced and all of these things. And then when I went to the States to continue with my major in food science, I really fell in love with food safety. My late advisor, Dr. Paul Lachance, he was the food safety expert on the NASA project for the space.
What an inspiration.
Yes, and so this is how my journey started. And when I came back to Lebanon, I always wanted to make a small change as much as I can in my little country here.
And this is what you're doing exactly. Tell us exactly, what is a food safety auditor?
A food safety auditor is someone who goes to companies, whether food companies, restaurants, anyone handling food, and they audit the infrastructure, the behavior of the employees, the preparation methods, the whole handling of the food from the receiving till the dispatch, or when the food is ready to be served or to be distributed.
So I think people connect the most to the behavior of the people, of the employees. So what aspect of the behavior exactly do you audit or observe?
Behavior is the key thing, and it is really the heart of all operation. At the end of the day, it's the human that is handling the food, even if you have machines and equipments. And it has been shown that food behavior and what we call a food safety culture is a very important aspect of having a safe end product.
Okay.
So I look at the personal hygiene, the proper attire, the way they are touching the food, if they are washing their hands, their gestures.
Like sneezing, for example,
or touching, scratching the scalp, or rubbing the nose, or
hairnets, face masks,
all of these things, or if something drops on the floor. So what's your first reaction is to pick it up. Did he wash his hands afterwards? And then
such tiny details.
It changes his gloves or not.
Yeah, you even mentioned once, like if they lift the garbage lid and they put something.
Yes, absolutely. So if he is touching the garbage and not changing the gloves, or sometimes even like wrapping a sandwich and then paying the bill, or he's also the same person as the cash register handling the money. These are all wrong behaviors that can lead to cross-contamination.
So it's hazards. Like as though you have like microscopic eyes when you're looking at everything.
Yeah, you have to have eagle eyes on details to be able to
in 1 second something can pass.
Anything, yes.
Okay. So you're auditing all this to prevent foodborne illnesses, right? Which come from bacteria, virus, fungi, and parasites.
Yes.
What is exactly a foodborne illness?
A foodborne illness is when you have like symptoms like vomiting, nausea, diarrhea, even fever. And oftentimes, if you are healthy and you have a good immune system, it can just be, it passes But unfortunately, for those who are immunocompromised, the kids, the elderly,
who have a weaker immune system.
Yes.
Okay.
It can be life-threatening, and it can lead to death. And even in the U.S., which is very advanced in terms of food safety regulation, you have the FDA, the USDA, you have around 5,000 people who die every year.
That's
from
incredible.
Foodborne illness. Yes, it's a big number.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we don't have much statistics here, because oftentimes you think that it might be like, the flu or the common cold, but it's not.
Yeah. So you wait it out.
You wait it out, and you don't think of it as a big deal. But sometimes it can be life-threatening for a pregnant woman as well. This is why we need to be careful when we eat out if we are pregnant.
Oh, that's true. Toxoplasmosis and things like this, we test
absolutely.
for that. You suggested I watch the documentary Poisoned on Netflix, and I did, and it's incredible how just a little piece of lettuce can ruin a whole person's life and even end it. It's fun. It's incredible.
It is scary.
Yeah.
Especially for the fruits and the vegetables, the salads that we eat out in Lebanon. You don't know what type of water it has been irrigated with, if all the water is polluted, are they disinfected, were they cleaned properly? So a lot of things go into play, and we are having a lot of food safety, foodborne illnesses, and bacteria and microbes are becoming more virulent as climate changes, as
more resistant.
More resistant, and so we cannot just say the old adage like my grandmas used to cook or prepare food doesn't apply nowadays.
Things have evolved.
Things have evolved. The way we do, we raise animals, antibiotics, hormones. Many things have changed in the supply chain.
You even mentioned to me that there's a certain kind of bacteria that is so resistant that it protects itself when they're being cooked.
Yes, absolutely.
They put a protective shell all around.
We call them spores.
Oh, okay.
You have Clostridium botulinum, which is the most virulent bacteria.
Yeah.
Half a cup of the toxin can kill humankind on Earth.
That's scary.
It is scary. But it has a good benefit. It's being used for Botox.
Oh, this is what you use in Botox?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So they use a dilute dose of the toxin to numb your
the muscles,
the synapse, the muscles, so you don't have.
Oh, okay. Interesting to know.
Yes.
So there is a balance to everything in life.
But in life, in anything that is being prepared without oxygen in like a jar, and it hasn't reached a very high temperature, there is a risk of Clostridium botulinum.
We talk a lot about Salmonella. Tell us a bit about the sources, because we usually think of chicken. But there is a whole huge source of Salmonella in foods.
Salmonella, when you think about Salmonella, it pops up chicken, but it can be in the meat, it can be in the grains, it can be in the spices.
Oh, in spices and grains too?
Yes, recently in the US, they have warned against giving flour dough to kids to play instead of Play-Doh, because or eat it even.
Wow.
Like, sometimes you munch on raw dough.
You munch on raw dough? You mean like the dough?
The dough that you make your pizza.
Right.
Or your bread.
So how can you be aware and like to make the right choices when you go buy these products?
Well, Salmonella is a very ubiquitous kind of bacteria, and it is due to it's present in the gastrointestinal tract of animals. So every time they shed, so you're gonna have it.
So technically speaking, this is all preventable.
It is all preventable. Salmonella, the good thing about Salmonella is when you cook it, it is destroyed by heat.
Right.
So cooking will remove it. However, when you have like ready-to-eat food like tahina, peanut butter, all of these things can be, if they are not properly roasted and there is contamination post-roasting, you can have it in your jar and then in your sandwich.
Incredible. This is, I think, the best diet episode ever. So, is there any, well, I don't want to say fun facts, but is there any interesting facts about pathogens that you can, like, for example, I read that 400 million bacteria can fit in a cube of sugar.
Well, I can say one fun fact is one bacteria can become 1 billion bacteria in 4 hours. This is the 4-hour rule. So we say always do not keep your food at room temperature for more than this time, because if you eat one single cell, you will not get sick. But when you eat 1 million or 1 billion, then you will get sick. It's the dose it's the number of bacteria that's gonna make the difference in terms of if you fall ill or not.
Yeah, they reproduce that quickly.
They reproduce every 15 to 30 minutes.
Wow, that's incredible.
They double in number.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I feel a little bit stunned every time we're talking about something new. Before we get to the home, do you think summer is the high season of gastrointestinal illnesses? Because you hear a lot of people that get sick from bad ice cream, or like you mentioned before, bad washing of fruits and vegetables. Also, what else? Even bad alcohol.
Summer is the month where you really have a lot of foodborne illnesses due to many factors. People are eating out more.
Yeah.
They're going out more. The temperature is very high now, reaching 34, 35. The cold chain is not maintained. There is temperature fluctuation.
Electricity cuts,
absolutely. So all of these things, they lead to an increase in the probability of having more foodborne illnesses in the summertime.
So how can we be vigilant? And I'm even thinking not just going to restaurants, but takeaway and delivery. I think maybe these are a little bit more dangerous now.
Delivery, it's very important. Like yesterday, my friend told me she delivered a burger meal 40 minutes away from where she lives. And I was like, don't do it again. So because these delivery totes, they are plastic with a little bit sponge inside. They are not really insulated, so they cannot maintain the temperature
cold or hot
away from the danger zone. So we need to either keep it below 5 degrees cold or above 60 degrees. So delivery is an important factor to consider. The way you do shopping, what do you put first in your trolley.
Okay, so let's go to the supermarket now. Okay, so before we get into the trolley, I mean, there's expiry dates for food products, the dry products, the fresh products. How do we differentiate? Like, you mentioned a little bit about the expiry date.
The expiry date is being revised globally. There's plenty of things going on regarding the expiry, because not all products get expired. Some of them you can still eat them post-expiry date, and we know that
printed on the package.
That's printed on the package, and there is a movement to use best before and not expiry for certain products that do not have any food safety issue. For example, if you have a pack of za'atar at home, or flour or like grains, beans at home, so if they are expired, nothing's gonna happen to them.
Especially because we cook it.
So we're gonna cook it. It might be a little bit more, takes more time to cook it out, but nothing in terms of food safety.
So there's a difference between best before and expiry.
Expiry, and there is a whole thing going on right now worldwide to kind of revise this whole scenario, because of in 2050 we will not have enough people to feed the planet. So we are trying to combat food waste.
Wow.
Food waste is a big issue nowadays, and people like common people like you, once they read expiry on a can Nothing's gonna happen if you eat an expired can. You will not get sick. Maybe the quality will deteriorate, the texture, but nothing regarding food safety. So I have many of my friends who call me and ask me, oh, we have this expired, can we, like pickles, what's going to happen to pickles if they expire?
Especially because it's
acidic and salty and all of these things. So this is a big thing going on right now worldwide and to combat food waste. So we look at the expiry date, of course, and when you go to the supermarket.
Okay, so push the cart for us and let us know how you go to the supermarket.
And first things, you buy your ambient products, your shelf stable, your room temperature products, and then you leave your refrigerated items and frozen items for last. And once you finish your shopping, also we need to segregate, and usually they are good at doing that at the supermarkets. They train these baggers to separate
the chicken
meat
from
and the
things.
chicken, the raw from the other items, so that in case they drip inside the bag. And then you should directly head home, especially in this heat. You should not do any other stop on your way home.
Logical, that should be common sense.
It should be a short trip back home.
Okay. So now we're home and we empty the car, the bags and everything. What do we do? And
in the fridge, usually there is a way to distribute items in your fridge. For example, you just bought some breast chicken, raw breast chicken, or raw fish. Usually we should put it at the bottom of the fridge, not at the top.
But there's usually the drawers.
The drawers are mainly for fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
For to keep them to lock the humidity so that they do not dry out.
Okay.
They do not become wrinkled and shriveled.
Right.
But on top of the drawers, at the bottom shelf, this is where you put your raw, uncooked items. If you have any cooked items or ready-to-eat salad or other dishes that you have cooked, it should be on top, above the raw.
So just a question, when we put the raw chicken, the raw fish, it has to be cooked within 24 hours?
You can 1 to 2 days.
Okay.
1 to 2 days.
Okay.
And the reason why we put the raw under is so that in case there is any dripping from the raw meat, the raw fish, the raw chicken, any juices coming out that might be contaminated with microorganisms, so that they do not drip on your salad or your fruit.
I usually keep them in the bags. Is that okay?
Yes, we keep them in the bags till we cook them.
So let's go through the cleaning process, because you told me something very interesting, a few interesting points. So if you could, for example, cleaning the chicken.
So we put it 1 to 2 days in the fridge, and then we cook it. If I do not want to, I change my mind, I can put it in the freezer, as long as the temperature was maintained below 5 in the fridge. You have a good fridge that has a good thermometer, and you are controlling the temperature. And you want to prepare this chicken that we bought. Contrary to popular beliefs,
took the words out of my mouth, right?
And a lot of women out there, they're not gonna like what I'm gonna say.
It's kind of unique.
It's unique, and they think the zancha will not go. They need to scrub this chicken with vinegar, with rock salt, with plenty of. Each woman has
their way of
doing it that they took over from their moms and their grandmas also. So the best thing is not to wash your chicken, because whenever you're washing your chicken in your sink, you are spreading potential Salmonella and Campylobacter all over the sink, all over the counter.
Wow.
You're splashing it all over, you're splashing it on yourself.
What have we been doing all these years?
So it is better practice to actually cook it as such, to chop it, to cook it as such, and then to...
and it's fine just to do it that way?
And trust me, the zankha, there will be no zankha in it as long as you throw the first water.
White...
and also the first boiling water, you can also toss it out if you... and replenish with new water.
Eggs! Yeah, you surprised me with this one.
As also eggs, we should never wash eggs.
Wow.
It's important when we buy the eggs from whoever we're buying eggs from, that there are no visible fecal droppings on them, that clean from the outside, visibly clean, and to put them in the refrigerator without washing. Because if I wash the eggs has pores for the chick to breathe if there is a baby chick. So these pores are gonna the water you're gonna be washing the eggs with, it's gonna penetrate through the pores, and if there's salmonella on the surface of the egg, you're bringing it within the pores and inside the egg.
And usually we're very happy when we see dirt on the eggs. On the contrary, we say, oh, it's probably very fresh.
It is
we have
fresh,
to be careful.
or it is farm raised more than it is farm raised and free range chicken. But at least to be visibly. In case you have some droppings on the surface, just wipe it out with a dry paper towel and then wash your hands.
Okay. Any other interesting tips that you can give us regarding washing vegetables, for example?
Vegetables, unfortunately in Lebanon, the vegetables can be a little bit tricky issue. We don't know the water that the vegetables have been irrigated with. And you see also some people washing it with white vinegar and rock salt. It doesn't really do the trick.
It doesn't?
Psychologically, it helps decrease the total load of microorganism, but if you have hepatitis A, virus or salmonella, it will not, or E. coli 0157 like the one in poison, it will not really eliminate it.
So what can we do?
It's the best deal is to use like these tablets, the chlorine tablets,
the Precept,
the Precepts, and then to rinse it off if you don't like the. So those who are immunocompromised, who are vulnerable, the best deal is to err on the safe side and to do that.
You said even at the end of the day we should wash the sink thoroughly, the washcloths, the dishcloths, the hand towels, everything.
Every day change the kitchen towel. Every day at night scrub the sink.
You said Clorox, and the dose, you told me it's like one capful?
Yes, it was one. It's one teaspoon for 1 cup, I think. We will check it.
1 teaspoon for 1 cup. We'll check it again.
And it's very important to scrub the sink. Also, another tip I like to give, because I struggle with this tip with my husband at home, is washing your hands after your meal in the bathroom and not in the kitchen sink.
Oh, that's important.
The kitchen
to
sink,
separate both.
Yes, unless you have 2 separate sinks in your kitchen, like you do, Patti. But if not, the hand washing sink is not the pot wash.
Oh, okay.
It's not the pot wash.
Okay, we have to be careful from that. Wow.
Another tip also that is common in the summertime with the watermelon.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't talk about that yet.
Watermelon, and even if your fruits and vegetables are to be peeled before consumption, it's very important to wash them, to scrub them properly. You can have like a sponge for the fruits and vegetables that have a thick skin so they will not break. And you just with water scrub them properly. If you don't want to sanitize, like we said, with Precept. And whenever we want to cut the watermelon, it has to be well washed before you cut it.
And sometimes we buy half a watermelon.
Yeah, this is I hate this is a dangerous practice because you don't know the watermelon grows on the soil, on the sand, on the dirt, and you have microorganism on the soil, and then you pick it up and then they cut it. Even if your knife is clean, the
watermelon has to be
the
washed.
germs on the surface, you're gonna bring them inside the flesh whenever you cut through the watermelon, and this is how you contaminate it. Same thing with an orange. So all of these things, you need to wash them before you slice them open.
Right. Geez, I have a whole new perspective when I listen to you talk, and you just feel, what have you been doing all this time when in the kitchen and everything?
Yeah, these are small tips.
Yeah.
Also, another tip is about whenever you cook your food, there is also a myth that if you cook it and you should leave it till it gets cold before you put it in the refrigerator. And the rule of thumb is to keep it not more than 2 hours at room temperature, because microorganisms are like us. They love ambient temperature. They multiply in this range. And we just said that some germs, microorganisms, are not destroyed by heat, like those that produce the spores.
They're destroyed by the cold?
They're not destroyed by the cold. The refrigerator will not kill germs. The freezer will not kill germs. Only
the freezer also.
They will hibernate. Resistant. They will be dormant. But once you defrost, they will multiply again. And this is why we should never defrost at room temperature. We should defrost in the refrigerator overnight. This is the best practice.
These they're so microscopic, yet they're so powerful.
They are very powerful.
Wow. Okay. So your rule of thumb here that you sent me in your PowerPoint here, it's clean, separate, cook, and chill.
Yes. So whenever we talk about cleaning, is you clean the counter, you wash your hands before you start preparing any food. This is basic hygiene.
Yeah.
Okay. Separate, it has to do whenever, if I have raw chicken, I should not be using the same cutting board or the same knife to chop
raw vegetables, for example.
Yes, and chicken. This is separate. So that's separating the raw from the cook, separating the dishes. When we are barbecuing now, it's summertime.
Yeah.
Common practice is that the same plate that you have your raw.
When you bring out your hamburgers, you put them back in
or the
same.
kafta, or the meat skewers.
Right.
Then you take them out, you grill them on your barbecue.
Right.
You should not use the same tongue or even the same plate after they have
even
been cooked.
The utensil that you used to turn. Wow.
Because it is now it is well cooked.
Okay.
So this is separate.
Right.
And you have...
You also, but before we go on, you also mentioned that it's better to use a dry cloth or air dry.
Yes. Yes. When we wash our dishes at home or even in a restaurant, the best practice is to let it air dry. Never towel dry your items, because even if the towel starts clean and dry, it's going to become wet. And any wet...
the moisture.
The moisture is going to encourage microbial multiplication and becomes what we call a fomite. So the towel itself will become a carrier of germs and contaminating germs. So the best practice is to let it air dry, and then to put it back in the cupboards.
Okay. You have here a segment that's called, let's see, what is it? It's called the one that you said, it's either choose, what is it? If when in doubt, throw it out.
Throw it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should we play it?
Yes, why not?
Okay. So, pizza left on the counter overnight.
Yes, absolutely. So anything left on the counter should be tossed out.
Okay, so
said
toss it out.
Yes, the rule of thumb is bacteria will multiply to a high enough number to cause illness in 4 hours. So
Wow.
the rule of thumb is 4 hours.
And that's the best pizza in the morning when you wake up. You eat
Yeah.
leftover pizza.
I agree.
Okay.
You have leftover, directly put it in the fridge.
Okay.
Don't leave your leftovers, or when you cook your food, do not leave it outside on the counter more than 2 hours to cool down, and then put it in the fridge. And nothing's gonna happen if it cools down. If it's a little bit warm and you put in the fridge, sometimes you hear women say بيحمض الأكل, but this is not true. Nothing's gonna happen. Trust me, try it.
Right.
The only thing is you need to put in shallow containers to increase the surface area so that they cool faster.
Okay,
So
so
the
separate
cooling
them
is
in smaller portions, for
Smaller,
example.
shallow
Right.
containers is the
Okay.
best way to go.
Okay.
And then shove it in the fridge.
So we mentioned about thawing meat from the freezer. We have to let it thaw in the fridge, right? We
Yes,
can't
this
let
is
it thaw.
this is the best scenario, is to let it thaw overnight. If you have an emergency,
Right.
in case of emergency, you can thaw it in the microwave as long as you immediately cook it, because in the microwave, the temperature of the food is gonna go up
Right.
in the danger zone, and directly you need to put it on your stove and start cooking it.
Is because the microwave is so quick, does it like buzz them, the bacteria or anything, or
No,
not really?
Well, you have to. Yes, you can cook in the microwave. And
Yeah,
you
but
can
is it
kill-
like because it's so quick to heat? Does
No,
it
no,
like
no.
not
But it
necessary-
will kill. It's the heat that kills the bacteria.
Okay.
So if it goes above a certain temperature, yes, it can be a way. And many people cook food in the microwave around the world. Here, maybe in Lebanon, we use it mainly for reheating purposes.
Right.
But as long as you are stirring the food, as long as the food is rotating in the microwave,
Okay.
and the only way to check if it's really, when do we know that the food is done? When it's boiling.
Yeah.
Or if we have a thermometer.
Right.
It has to be above 73 degrees Celsius, but
Okay.
many of us do not have a thermometer.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to Mythbusters. Okay. So this is also, you did this also. So if you become ill from eating contaminated food, it's the last food you ate that made you sick.
Yes.
True or false?
This is a common myth, and this is unfortunately where some restaurants fall victim of this. They
Okay.
get complaints
Right.
from a customer saying that I ate yesterday night
Yeah.
and I'm having vomiting and
Right. It might not have
diarrhea.
been what they ate last
It
night.
not yes, it can
Okay.
be 48 hours ago.
Wow.
It can even go 2 weeks ago for hepatitis A,
Jeez.
because the incubation period for different microorganisms vary.
Okay.
Some of them that cause intoxication, that secrete poison, the symptoms are very rapid within hours. The
Right.
others, it can be days before we see the symptoms, and this is why it's not always the last thing that you ate. What
Okay.
is important to look at is to see if your other friends that who were with you
Yeah.
also
they ate
had
the same thing.
same food. This is
Right.
when we talk about a foodborne illness. It has to be at least 2 people having the same symptoms after eating the same food, not me having a salad and you having like a grilled chicken.
Right. Okay. I can leave cut fruits and vegetables on the counter. True or false?
No.
False.
Cut fruits and vegetable, once the skin or the outer protective covering of the fruit or the vegetable is compromised, then germs can multiply. So cut your fruit, cut your vegetable, and put it back in the fridge till the time you eat it.
Okay. This one is interesting. This is important to talk about. Foodborne illness is due to leftovers. No, foodborne illness due to leftovers are safe to eat until they smell bad.
Yes, this is very important.
True or false?
It is false. So
Right.
unfortunately, people who get sick, people who die from foodborne illnesses, they did not know that the food had the microorganism that caused the illness or the death. They taste
Normal.
Very normal. They smell good. They look good.
Wow.
Otherwise, if there was a change in any of these parameters, it would have been alarming, and we would stop eating it.
It would be a lot easier to detect.
People wouldn't be getting sick.
Okay.
Actually, those microorganisms that cause, for example, حموضة or something, in my labne, nothing's gonna happen to my.
We can still eat the labne.
Yes, we can still eat the labne.
Okay.
It's those that cause disease are usually silent, present there.
We can't see, smell, or taste them.
We cannot smell. We're enjoying the food. We're having a beautiful night out, and then we fall sick.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Marinades are acidic, which kills bacteria. So it's okay to marinate foods on the counter. True or false?
False. We should never leave anything on the counter. We keep it hot or keep it cold, or do not keep it at all. So we either keep it on bain-marie like they do in the chafing dishes during events, above 60 degrees, or in the refrigerator below 4 or 5. We should never leave anything on the counter. Microorganisms love to multiply, most of them at room temperature, at the ambient temperature.
Right.
We call it the danger zone.
Yeah. Gee, they more than love to multiply, it seems to me. So lemon juice and salt will clean and sanitize a cutting board.
Yes, it's the same concept with the fruits and vegetables when you wash them with vinegar or salt.
Yeah. You need a stronger product.
We need a stronger product. So after using the cutting board, of course we said we separate between the raw meat and chicken and the cutting board for the vegetables and the fruits. It's best to put just some chlorine-based sanitizer like Clorox or Odex or Ojavel.
Yeah. Even in, so-called developed countries, there's even gaps in the system. So what can a consumer do to protect themselves? I don't know, like what can we do? I mean, as a group, is there anything that we can do? Maybe lobby the government, or what do we do to get more regulation, to be more strict, because people are getting hurt. You said like thousands of people die every year from this.
Yes. We wouldn't be waiting for the government to do anything. In Lebanon, it can be effort on a personal level for each food company or restaurant or food service operation to feel the responsibility to serve safe food. And this is where like certifications like ISO, which I do audit for, help. And these are, driven by companies willing to have international standards.
Right.
They're not driven by any governmental
so to give more credibility
regulation
to themselves that they're clean,
that they are abiding by good manufacturing and hygiene practices.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, statistically speaking, do you know of any countries that have a low rate? What are the countries that have the lowest rate of foodborne illnesses? Just out of curiosity,
Australia has a very good food safety system and regulation. But again, there are many factors that play a role in foodborne illnesses. How much you eat out.
Okay. The culture.
The population.
Okay.
Total number.
I have two questions for you. How do you deal at home with your family? They must be probably because
at the university I always give the example of my mother-in-law leaving the cooked food at room temperature the whole day, then reheating it and then turning it off. Reheating, we haven't talked about reheating.
And then you sit at the table, I'm not hungry.
We should only reheat only once. We should never reheat the food more than once. So
why not? What happens?
Because when you are reheating the food, it passes through the danger zone. So it was in the refrigerator, then for it to go back to 75 degrees Celsius, it's gonna pass through the danger zone. Then let's say you don't eat it. You then cool it down. It then passes back in the danger zone. Then you put it back in the fridge. Then you take another.
You're putting it at risk several times.
Several times passing. So you take only the portion that you want to eat. You reheat, and you eat it. If there is anything left from this reheated food, throw it out.
This is very bizarre. Well, it's not bizarre, but the other day I went to buy roasted chicken with my son, and I, while sitting and watching the man or whatever is getting it, I saw like about 10 safety violations without being an expert after talking to you. So how do you do it? I mean, how do you go and eat and everything? Is that why you're so thin? Because you're afraid to eat?
No. I was a dietitian. I'm a nutritionist.
Yeah.
No, actually, I try to select the places I know, I trust. I know the owners. I know the
because you still go out a lot.
Yes,
it's not like you're.
No, it's fun. It's the most beautiful thing you can do in Lebanon, to socialize. And this is what we have that is special in this country. So I try to, I eat places where I trust the people, or I know that they have high safety standards. And whenever I'm in doubt, I try to shy away from salads, let's say, eat something well done, cooked, things like that.
I just want to mention something before ending the podcast, that when I was going around with you at the exhibition, and there were many producers here, and you were really saying high accolades about many of the producers, like they're producing good products and clean factories and everything. So I just wanted to highlight that point, because
absolutely, the food industry in Lebanon, especially those that are exporting, they are abiding by international standards. Otherwise, they cannot export.
Right.
So they are playing the game fairly and well. The issue can be a little bit regarding restaurants or small businesses that are still operating at the local level, where there is no government enforcement, unless the person is responsible and ethical. And
it also takes more money to be more vigilant.
More money, more awareness. So you have two different ball games. You have the food industry and you have the restaurants.
So each one is developing at its own pace.
At its own pace, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Zeina. So to end the podcast, what makes the ordinary extraordinary? Off the bat, very simply.
Yeah, well, even though we have plenty of challenges here in Lebanon, I love the fact that you can make a small dent and to be able to help these industries and these startups in their path or their journey towards achieving food safety. And this is, it's such a pleasure feeling that at a local level you are making a difference.
You're impacting people's health.
Yes, and it makes my day.
Yeah, well, that is extraordinary.
Thank
you. Zeina, if anybody would like to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you?
I am on Facebook and I'm on LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn.
That's great.
It's more professional.
Zeina, thank you so much for this enlightening and diet-provoking podcast. It gives us a lot to think about.
Thank you for having me, Patty. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
See you.
Thank you.